guys, it is Dani'i and welcome to this update video on the tropics. And so guys, we're going to be talking about our two invests which are Caribbean threats, and there is now a very high chance that we have a tropical depression forming very soon. And is Jamaica going to be an area of landfall? Certainly seems possible at this point. And so let's talk about our invests, and the Lesser Antilles are going to be impacted by both beginning today. And so guys, before I go into details, alright guys, and so first let us kickstart things with our Invest 95 ELSA. So at this time the chance has decreased even more to 10%, so a very low chance that this thing here develops, and it is likely that this won't develop into a tropical cyclone, but regardless it is going to be enhancing the rainfall across the Lesser Antilles, as it is going to be making its way to the west, and then it's going to be moving across the central Caribbean, where if it is still even hanging around by that time, the remnants might affect Jamaica with some very inclement weather conditions. So starting today, if you're especially in the Windward Islands, you should start to feel some impacts from the system here. So impacts are expected to be quite minimal, but regardless guys, please take the necessary precautions and stay safe, because anything can happen with the system. And even though, as I said, we're not expecting development, there are going to be some impacts guys. And so looking at the satellite view of it, we're seeing here that it is not looking so well, but we do have that large area of convection off to the west that is making its way over Barbados. So if you're in Barbados, you're probably experiencing some inclement weather from the system, and all of that is going to continue to drift to the west. And so because the system here is so disorganized, that shower and thunderstorm activity is likely to be quite widespread across the Lesser Antilles overall, and not just the Windward Islands guys. And so in terms of water, models are expected in terms of its potential intensity. We're seeing here that most keeping it below tropical cyclone status, at least for the next probably 5 days or so, then showing some intensification. So if the system is even still in one piece by the time it makes its way across the Caribbean, probably merges into the Gulf, probably that is when, or some of our models here are expecting a bit of intensification. But I think that most likely this thing here is just going to be off the map as an area of interest, should in case it continues to encounter these unfavorable conditions, especially these strong wind shear guys. So we really have to wait and see, but this system here has really been struggling for quite a long while now guys. And so now let us move on to the main treat of this video, Invest 97L. And so guys, as you're seeing it, this time it is given a high 80% chance to develop during the next 5 days, and also 60% chance through the next 48 hours. And so the system is going to be moving generally west, a bit to the west northwest, and so by this weekend it is going to be approaching the Windward Islands. And so as of right now, a depression seems likely to form very soon. I wouldn't even be surprised if by tomorrow this thing here is our depression, or probably a tropical storm according to the name ELSA. And so interests in the Windward and Leeward Islands should closely monitor this system, because it is going to be moving through that region on Friday. And so guys, once conditions are very favorable for this system to develop, once the shear is low, once there is little to no dry air, and the system is over the warm ocean waters of the Caribbean or even the Atlantic before it makes its way over the Lesser Antilles, we can definitely expect some serious intensification, even though as of right now we're not expecting something very significant, or at least I'm not expecting something very significant from this. It is possible that some rapid intensification can occur. We've seen it in a lot of years where we have these systems not expected to intensify much, and they even go all the way up to being a major hurricane. I'm not saying that that will be the outcome, or that might be the outcome of the system, but there is always the possibility, and we cannot auto-rule them. And so guys, looking at the satellite imagery of the system here, we're definitely seeing some organization of it starting to come in. And so as time goes by, it is going to look better and better until we eventually have that tropical cyclone developing. And it's relatively low latitude, so it's not in the vicinity of a lot of dry air out in the Atlantic, so it is a bit below that. So it is in a region now that is quite favorable to help it to develop. And so again guys, if you are in the Lesser Antilles, especially the Windward Islands, please be on alert, because this system here is likely to potentially strengthen to a tropical cyclone before making its way across the region. And then maybe when it enters the Caribbean, there will be further intensification if favorable conditions persist. And so let us take a look at what our models are expecting in terms of the intensity. And so here we have it. Not one model is saying this won't develop into a tropical cyclone. All of our models are expecting that this thing here is going to be achieving tropical cyclone status, and quite a few are expecting this to achieve category 1 status. And I think this is certainly possible. As I said, with just the right conditions, we will see some intensification, and we could see some serious intensification of the system here. And so in terms of the potential track of it, we're seeing here that all of our models agree that this is going to be remaining in the Caribbean. We have quite a few taking the system over Jamaica, and so I think this is certainly possible. And so guys, my fellow Jamaicans, please keep an eye on the system. There have been a lot of years where we do not have tropical cyclones making landfall, or probably they were expected to make landfall but made their way a bit more south or a bit more north. But guys, we don't know what is going to be the outcome of this. We cannot just say, okay, we don't always get these tropical cyclones when they're expected to hit us. I know that a lot of persons have been saying that, especially even with Hurricane Matthew back in 2016. But guys, this is a new tropical cyclone. This is a new year, so please do not underestimate the system. But again, landfall here is not guaranteed, and so I will keep you updated as time goes by on the system. But if it develops into a tropical cyclone, and once it's closer, we will get a better view of where it is most likely going to be making landfall. But as of right now, we have our models trending towards us being that target. And so guys, now let us move on to see how favorable conditions are. First up, the ocean temperature map. So ocean temperatures across the Caribbean are relatively favorable to accommodate the system to develop, but especially in the western Caribbean. We're not seeing the eastern Caribbean being as warm, but we do have the western Caribbean being very, very supportive. But conditions in the eastern Caribbean are still supportive regardless, for us to have some intensification taking place with the system here. And in the Gulf of Mexico, very, very favorable conditions as well. And so guys, now let us go on to the wind shear map. And so we are seeing here that we have a bit of moderate shear across the Caribbean, and so the different colors here mean different shear intensities. When we're going down from the yellows to the greens and the blues, the wind shear is not strong at all. Wind shear is very weak, which makes the environment favorable. And then going to the oranges, to the reds, and that light pink color, that is when we have strong wind shear, which inhibits tropical cyclones from developing, because what it does is it usually just rips them up and prevent them from growing any further. So we have a bit of that being in place for the Caribbean, a bit of light and moderate shear, I would say. But the system 97L is still quite far out, and it's this weekend when it's going to be making its first approach into the eastern Caribbean, and that is when conditions could be a bit more favorable in the Caribbean. And so we just have to wait and see. But as of right now, again guys, it is given a very high chance we could have a tropical depression before Friday. And so if you're in the Lesser Antilles, please be cautious. If you're in Jamaica, keep an eye. And I would say to an extent, Central America, maybe the Yucatan, maybe Belize, please keep an eye on the system, especially as we head into the new week, guys. And so guys, of course, I will keep you updated on the latest as time goes by. And so if you found this video to be quite informative, please give a thumbs up, and you can also share your thoughts in the comments or ask a question. I'll try to respond as best and soon as I can. And just remember to always weather wise, and of course, I'll keep you updated as time goes by.